Okay, today we step into a moment of stillness amid the endless scroll of notifications, the constant ping of messages, and the ceaseless speed of modern life. Imagine if just 5 minutes could pause this whirlwind. If a brief practice could turn anxiety into clarity, noise into calm, and scattered thoughts into steady focus. In a world that never stops moving, the wisdom of the Stoic philosophers whispers a simple truth. Peace is not found outside, but within. Welcome to Stoic Dhamma, where ancient philosophy meets modern life. We explore lessons from Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, turning timeless wisdom into daily practices that cultivate calm, clarity, and inner strength, a space to reflect, breathe, and grow. In today's episode, we will uncover a small yet powerful daily practice, the 5-minute Stoic habit that can truly change everything. Rooted in centuries of Stoic thought, this simple ritual is designed for modern minds, offering a path to resilience, self-mastery, and clarity amidst life's constant flux. In every age, chaos takes a different shape. In ancient Rome, the streets buzzed with merchants, senators, and citizens, each carrying their fears and ambitions. Today, it is the endless flood of notifications, deadlines, and social pressures. Yet across centuries, one truth quietly endures. Peace begins within. It is not found in wealth, status, or control, but in the calm center of your own mind. Stoicism is more than an ancient philosophy. It is a way of life, a practice of disciplined reflection. It invites you to pause, observe your thoughts, and recognize that while you cannot control every event, you can choose your response. In mastering this, true freedom emerges. Marcus Aurelius described it as the art of living well, where clarity, virtue, and calm converge. Imagine beginning your day with quiet reflection. You close your eyes, feel the weight of the world, and turn attention inward. In that deliberate silence, you encounter the essence of Stoicism. Peace is cultivated, not granted. The habit asks you to examine what lies within your control, to shape thoughts and reactions consciously, and to accept what cannot be changed, reclaiming your power over yourself rather than the world. Why has this ancient idea survived for thousands of years? Perhaps it is because human nature has not changed. We still experience uncertainty, loss, and the fear of failure. Across cultures and eras, philosophers have sought the same anchor amid life's turbulence. The Stoics found it within reason, self-awareness, and a disciplined mind. Seneca wrote that the greatest wealth is a mind free from disturbance. He observed that when we allow external events to dictate our peace, we surrender the one domain truly ours, our inner world. Today, this lesson resonates more than ever. In a culture of constant distraction, the ability to cultivate inner stillness is a rare and transformative skill. Consider the mysteries that have long puzzled humanity. Sudden reversals of fortune, the collapse of empires, the unpredictability of nature. Stoicism does not promise answers, but it offers a lens to meet life with equanimity. Events themselves are neutral. It is our perception that gives them power. Recognizing this is the first step toward lasting calm. The practice of Stoic reflection can take many forms: journaling in the morning, observing your breath, or quietly considering the challenges ahead. The principle is constant. Create a space between stimulus and response, understanding that wisdom and measured action arise from within. Now imagine frustration rising at work, or fear gripping your mind. With reflection, you observe these emotions without being swept away. The external storm may rage, but the calm inside persists. Epictetus, once a slave, knew that mastery of self is the truest form of freedom. But there's another layer. Stoic reflection is not merely defensive, it is generative. In the quiet of contemplation, you begin to discover gratitude, patience, and perspective. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to approach each day with purpose, to see challenges as opportunities for virtue. By observing your thoughts, you align your actions with principles that endure beyond circumstance. This practice also teaches humility. When you recognize that much of life is beyond your control, you release the constant burden of trying to dominate outcomes. You become like the ancient rivers or the wind, flowing, adapting, present. Inner stillness is not passive resignation. It is an active engagement with life, guided by wisdom and discernment. Throughout history, Stoic reflection has served as a quiet companion in moments of turmoil. Soldiers in the Roman legions, rulers like Marcus Aurelius, and ordinary citizens alike found resilience in turning inward. Today, the same practice can anchor us amidst the turbulence of digital life, societal expectations, and personal uncertainty. Daily mindfulness, in the Stoic sense, does not demand hours of meditation or isolation from the world. 5 minutes each morning is enough to plant the seed of clarity. In that time, you might write a few lines in a journal, contemplate a guiding principle, or simply observe your breath and thoughts. Each repetition strengthens the capacity to remain steady in the face of distraction. But why does it resonate so profoundly in modern times? Perhaps it is the very speed and complexity of contemporary life. The mind is bombarded with stimuli, constantly pulled outward. Stoic reflection offers a pause, a retreat into the inner citadel where reason rules and judgment is measured. In this space, one can examine life with perspective and act with intention. The practice also encourages reflection on mortality, not morbidly, but as a guide to living fully. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself that life is fleeting, that the present moment is all we truly possess. In acknowledging the impermanence of events, we find a clarity that sharpens our decisions and deepens our appreciation for what matters. Stoic reflection teaches patience and acceptance. It is the gentle understanding that suffering is universal, that loss and disappointment are natural, and that virtue is cultivated through facing adversity with courage. Each pause, each thoughtful breath, becomes a rehearsal for facing life's challenges with grace. From this perspective, the habit of reflection becomes a lens through which life gains clarity and meaning. Everyday moments, once mundane, transform into opportunities for insight and growth. By practicing Stoic mindfulness, you learn to respond with awareness rather than react impulsively, to observe thoughts and emotions rather than be swept away by them. Over time, this small daily practice shapes character, strengthens perspective, and nurtures inner resilience. The true power of inner stillness is not revealed in dramatic events, but in ordinary life. Choosing reflection over reaction, patience over irritation, and clarity over distraction cultivates a calm that endures. This ancient habit has survived because it meets timeless human needs: the search for meaning, the desire for tranquility, and the pursuit of self-mastery. Even 5 minutes of focused reflection, sitting, breathing, observing, can turn chaos into clarity, distraction into focus, and connect you to the enduring wisdom of the Stoics. To understand the 5-minute Stoic habit, we return to its origins. In the bustling marketplaces of ancient Greece, sunlight fell on marble columns as voices clashed in trade and debate. Philosophy was no abstract luxury, but a guide for living, a compass for navigating life's unpredictability with dignity and clarity. As Stoicism spread to Rome, it became a daily practice, not mere contemplation. Citizens, soldiers, and rulers faced war, famine, and personal loss. Stoicism taught what could be controlled and how to accept what could not, shaping resilience through lived experience and the trials of real life. Consider Epictetus, once a slave, whose body bore the scars of servitude. Yet through reason, reflection, and disciplined thought, he discovered a freedom that no chains could bind. His writings guide us to recognize that liberty is not a matter of circumstance, but of the mind. The habit of reflection, he taught, is the doorway to inner sovereignty. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, held the weight of an empire on his shoulders. Wars, betrayals, and the frailty of human nature surrounded him, yet he sought calm amidst the storm. In his meditations, he recorded daily reflections on virtue, impermanence, and human connection. His life reminds us that even amidst the greatest responsibilities, one can cultivate peace by mastering one's response to external events. Yet Stoicism does not exist in isolation. Across Asia, parallels emerge in the teachings of Lao Tzu, who emphasized harmony with the flow of life, and the Buddha, who guided minds toward detachment from craving and aversion. Though distinct in culture and context, these philosophies converge on a shared insight. The mind is the ultimate arena of power. Our perception shapes reality. Our judgments color experience. The Stoic habit revolves around a single question: what lies within my control? Most events occur beyond our grasp, yet our thoughts, choices, and responses remain ours. This shifts life from struggle against circumstance to mindful engagement. Stoics emphasized reason as a guide, not mere knowledge, but a tool to discern what is good, indifferent, or to be endured. The 5-minute habit applies this: a daily pause to reflect, exercise reason, and align actions with virtue. Seneca, too, provides guidance across the centuries. His letters describe the fleeting nature of life, the unpredictability of fortune, and the importance of cultivating the inner self. By observing thoughts and emotions, by reflecting on mortality and the impermanence of worldly events, one begins to untangle the threads of attachment, distraction, and fear. Reflection becomes a shield against chaos and a mirror for growth. The archaeological record even whispers of this enduring human search for inner steadiness. From the remnants of ancient libraries to inscriptions in forgotten temples, we glimpse a shared aspiration across time to find calm within movement, clarity within disorder, and dignity amid uncertainty. These artifacts are silent testaments to the timeless relevance of Stoic thought. Now imagine the modern mind, overwhelmed by the velocity of information, the constant pull of social media, and the endless comparisons to others. The challenge is not new, only magnified. Stoicism offers a bridge, a practice distilled through centuries to guide contemporary life. The 5-minute habit allows the ancient insight to manifest in the modern context: brief, deliberate reflection to regain perspective and calm. In Stoicism, the space between stimulus and response is sacred. This interval, often unnoticed, is where the mind exerts its greatest power. By cultivating awareness, we learn to choose responses rather than react automatically. We create room for discernment, for clarity, for compassion toward ourselves and others. This is not passive, it is active engagement with life, shaped by conscious choice. Even in adversity, Stoic reflection cultivates resilience. When illness, loss, or disappointment arises, the practice guides the mind to focus on what remains within control. Small, deliberate steps of reasoning and reflection allow us to navigate turbulence with composure. Freedom is found not in escaping challenges, but in mastering the inner response. From the wisdom of Epictetus to Marcus Aurelius, from Seneca to the distant echoes of Eastern philosophy, one message persists: the power of life lies in perception. The events themselves are neutral. Our interpretation determines their impact. Stoic reflection trains the mind to see clearly, act deliberately, and live aligned with principles that endure beyond the fleeting. The enduring appeal of Stoic teachings lies in their timeless relevance. Human nature remains constant. We seek stability, meaning, and peace while facing uncertainty, loss, and the unpredictability of life. Stoicism offers tools to navigate these challenges, bringing clarity in chaos, calm in agitation, and strength in fragility. The 5-minute Stoic habit, simple yet profound, invites a daily pause to reflect, journal, or quietly consider guiding principles. In these moments, scattered thoughts gather, anxiety softens, and focus deepens. This brief practice bridges modern life with the enduring wisdom of ancient Stoics, cultivating resilience and inner calm. From here, the roots of Stoicism reveal themselves as living guidance. They are not relics of the past, but active, practical, and deeply relevant. The reflection cultivated in these few minutes transforms perception, enhances judgment, and nurtures inner stability. Across cultures and centuries, the principle remains: while events are beyond our control, our response, reason, and reflection remain ours to shape. In moments of reflection, subtle patterns of life emerge. Cause and effect, impermanence, and human interconnectedness become clear. Stoic practice serves as a lens for understanding, aligning thought, action, and intention. It cultivates patience, equanimity, and mindful engagement with each unfolding moment. The 5-minute Stoic habit has roots that are both historical and universal. From ancient Greece and Rome, through sages across continents and mirrored in Eastern wisdom, it is designed to endure. Its essence is simple: cultivate awareness, focus on what is within control, and respond with reason, integrity, and calm. Even a brief daily reflection connects you to centuries of human insight, sharpens discernment, and nurtures inner freedom, bridging the noise of modern life to the enduring serenity of Stoic wisdom. Philosophy, in its truest sense, is measured not by words or ideas alone, but by how it shapes the way we live. A lesson memorized is a lesson lost unless it finds expression in daily action. The Stoics understood this deeply. Wisdom is not merely knowledge. It is a practice cultivated moment by moment, day by day, through reflection, choice, and deliberate effort. To carry philosophy into life is to recognize that every action, no matter how small, carries potential for growth. It begins with awareness, the simple act of observing the mind, noticing reactions, and discerning what is within our control. Stoicism teaches that thought precedes action, and by shaping the first, we shape the second. This is the bridge from theory to practice. Now imagine approaching your day with this intention. Before checking emails or scrolling through endless notifications, you pause, you breathe, you ask, what is within my control today? This question, deceptively simple, transforms perspective. Fear, frustration, and impatience lose their power when examined through the lens of conscious reflection. At work, this habit manifests as focus. Rather than reacting to every urgent request or succumbing to stress, you move through tasks with clarity. Decisions are guided by reason, not anxiety. Mistakes are met with analysis rather than panic. Performance improves, but more importantly, the mind remains calm, steady, and aware. The practice does not remove challenges, but it reshapes the way they are met. In relationships, the habit of reflection deepens understanding. Instead of responding impulsively to irritation or disagreement, you pause, observe your emotions, and listen with intention. The Stoic principle here is simple. You cannot control others, only your response. By choosing patience and compassion, conversations transform. Tension softens, connection strengthens, and trust grows. This daily practice nurtures harmony, grounded not in avoidance but in presence. Even in solitude, the Stoic habit offers profound benefit. Alone, one might feel restlessness, boredom, or anxiety. Yet with mindful reflection, these moments become opportunities for growth. Journaling, meditation, or silent contemplation allows the mind to untangle, examine, and align with personal values. Gratitude arises naturally when attention shifts from what is lacking to what is within reach. Begin each morning with 5 minutes of Stoic reflection. Sit quietly, observe the mind, and write a line or two about your intentions. Ask, what is within my control today? Where will my energy be most wisely applied? The answer may be subtle, a small adjustment in thought, yet it shapes the tone of the entire day. Over time, this simple ritual transforms the mind. Reaction gives way to reflection. Impulse is softened by reason. Anxiety becomes discernment, and distraction becomes focus. Through repetition, the habit grows stronger, weaving clarity and resilience into the fabric of daily life. The mind, once turbulent, finds a quiet current running beneath the surface, steadying action and deepening understanding. The practice is not rigid, nor is it formulaic. Each day offers different circumstances, challenges, and emotions, yet the underlying principle remains: pause, reflect, and act with awareness. This habit trains attention, cultivates patience, and nurtures discernment. It is a small investment of time with disproportionate returns in mental clarity, emotional stability, and personal agency. Consider the mysteries of human behavior, why small comments provoke irritation, or events spark fear. Through Stoic reflection, you observe the roots of thought and emotion, separating conditioned reactions from conscious choice. Awareness becomes the first step toward mastery. The ancient philosophers understood that life will always present uncertainty. Wealth fluctuates, relationships shift, health declines, and plans falter. Stoicism is not a shield against loss. It is a guide for navigating it with dignity. The daily habit of reflection builds an inner citadel, a mental space where the storms of life can pass without shattering calm. Epictetus taught that freedom lies in the power to choose. Marcus Aurelius meditated on impermanence and virtue. Seneca wrote of the fleeting nature of fortune and the importance of inner cultivation. Their guidance converges in this daily practice. Brief, deliberate attention to the mind, choices, and perceptions. 5 minutes, repeated consistently, becomes a compass for navigating life. This habit is both personal and universal. Each individual applies it according to circumstances, temperament, and priorities, yet the underlying rhythm remains constant: observe, reflect, and respond. It is a dialogue with the self, a rehearsal for life, and a bridge between ancient wisdom and modern experience. Imagine approaching a conflict at work with this mindset. You feel the initial surge of frustration, the instinct to react sharply. A pause, a moment of reflection changes the trajectory. You respond with calm clarity, addressing facts rather than projections. The situation shifts, relationships endure. Your inner state remains intact. This is the transformative power of Stoic practice. In solitude, the habit nurtures resilience. Writing down fears, hopes, or reflections illuminates patterns of thought, revealing attachments and assumptions. Daily mindfulness strengthens awareness, enabling discernment. Gratitude emerges naturally as the mind learns to recognize what is within reach rather than longing for what is not. 5 minutes becomes a seed for enduring stability. From here, the practice extends beyond personal life. The clarity gained in quiet reflection informs decisions, interactions, and responses to societal pressures. It allows engagement without being consumed, presence without attachment. In this way, the Stoic habit bridges thought and action, philosophy, and lived experience. The 5-minute Stoic practice is simple, yet profoundly transformative. It asks little but offers perspective, resilience, calm, and a sense of agency. Through consistent reflection, the mind learns to observe rather than react, to act deliberately rather than be driven, and to live with intention amid life's chaos. As you carry this habit into daily life, notice the subtle shifts. Small pauses accumulate, forming a current of clarity beneath the noise. Reaction softens, discernment deepens, and the mind becomes a space of steady engagement. In every task, conversation, or solitary moment, Stoic reflection guides thought, emotion, and action. 5 minutes a day can cultivate resilience, wisdom, and enduring inner calm. Philosophy becomes lived experience. From the meditations of Marcus Aurelius to the writings of modern thinkers like Ryan Holiday and Donald Robertson, one lesson threads through time. True power is not measured by wealth, status, or control over circumstance. True power is self-mastery, the quiet ability to remain centered, calm, and deliberate, no matter the storms that rage around us. It is the sovereignty of the mind over chaos. Imagine standing amid a world of constant noise, the hum of notifications, the endless scroll of social media, the urgent pull of obligations pressing from every direction. In the midst of such turbulence, self-mastery becomes an anchor, a silent fortress within which clarity, reason, and calm persist. It is here that the Stoic habit of reflection demonstrates its most profound effect. Self-mastery is cultivated, not inherited. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the mind is a garden, and what we plant, nurture, and observe determines the fruits of our character. Reflection, meditation, and mindful attention are the tools by which we shape thought, align action with principle, and find strength in moments of uncertainty. Consider how easily life can provoke fear, irritation, or anxiety. The external world may shift unpredictably, yet the mind has the capacity to remain steady. This is the essence of Stoic discipline, recognizing that the world is not what disturbs us, but our judgments about it. Each pause, each act of reflection, strengthens resilience and deepens understanding. Ask yourself, who do I wish to be when circumstances spiral beyond my control? This is not a theoretical exercise. It is a daily question, one that guides decisions, shapes interactions, and anchors the self in principle rather than impulse. Self-mastery emerges from this deliberate attention to thought and choice. In relationships, mastery of self transforms dynamics. By responding rather than reacting, listening deeply rather than judging quickly, one cultivates presence. Conflicts are met with patience and clarity, not emotional turbulence. Love, trust, and understanding grow not from controlling others, but from steadying the self. The habit of reflection becomes the quiet foundation for connection. At work, the principle is equally profound. Challenges, deadlines, and high stakes may trigger stress or panic. Yet the disciplined mind, trained in reflection and conscious choice, navigates obstacles with focus rather than fear. Actions are deliberate, guided by reason and principle. Success is measured not solely in results, but in composure, intention, and ethical engagement. Even in solitude, self-mastery provides liberation. Time alone, often seen as boredom or isolation, becomes a sacred space for contemplation. Journaling, meditation, or silent observation of thought allow the mind to untangle patterns, recognize attachments, and cultivate gratitude. In solitude, the internal world becomes both refuge and laboratory for personal growth. The ancient Stoics understood that adversity is not a barrier to peace, but the very field in which it is cultivated. Marcus Aurelius faced wars, political turmoil, and personal loss, yet his journals reflect an unwavering focus on virtue and reason. Epictetus, once enslaved, discovered a freedom untouchable by circumstance. In both cases, mastery of self was the source of enduring power. Modern psychology reinforces this ancient insight. Donald Robertson emphasizes that cognitive awareness and reflection create resilience. Ryan Holiday illustrates how Stoic principles can guide decisions, emotional management, and personal development in contemporary life. The message is consistent. Mastery begins within. Without it, external gains are fragile and fleeting. In practical terms, cultivating self-mastery begins with small, deliberate habits. A 5-minute reflection each morning aligns attention, clarifies intention, and prepares the mind for daily challenges. Ask, what is within my control today? How will I act from reason rather than impulse? Even brief, consistent practice compounds over time, transforming thought into behavior and chaos into calm. This practice also fosters emotional intelligence. Observing reactions before acting develops patience, empathy, and discernment. The mind learns to recognize triggers, to understand the impermanence of discomfort, and to respond with purpose. Self-mastery is not suppression of feeling, but thoughtful navigation of it. Consider the quiet power of stillness in a world that celebrates speed and noise. In resisting the pull of distraction, in observing rather than reacting, one performs a subtle act of rebellion. It is not resistance for the sake of defiance, but resistance to the tyranny of external circumstance over inner peace. Each pause, each moment of reflection is a reclamation of agency. The strength of self-mastery also emerges in facing uncertainty. Life is inherently unpredictable. Health fluctuates, relationships shift, fortunes rise and fall. Stoicism teaches that by attending to perception and choice, rather than external events, one maintains stability. The internal citadel becomes unshakable because its foundation is within, not without. Self-mastery is an ethical practice. Actions guided by reflection, reason, and principle foster personal peace and support the well-being of others, creating harmony, fair decisions, and compassionate engagement. In daily life, when irritation arises, a colleague speaks sharply, a plan falters, or a loved one grows frustrated, the trained mind pauses, observes, and responds with calm and balance. The external storm may rage, yet inner stability persists. Through consistent practice, self-mastery radiates outward, shaping both self and surroundings. Self-mastery is cumulative. It is not achieved in a single triumph, but in repeated choices, to reflect before reacting, to act according to principle rather than impulse, to cultivate patience, clarity, and wisdom daily. The 5-minute habit, though brief, reinforces this discipline and anchors behavior in conscious intent. Ask yourself, who do I want to be when life feels uncontrollable? The question is not theoretical. It is the starting point for intentional action, the foundation for resilience, and the lens through which every choice is filtered. Through small, consistent practice, the mind becomes a space of stability amid chaos. In conclusion, self-mastery is not about perfection or control over the external world. It is about cultivating calm, clarity, and purpose within. By observing, reflecting, and acting intentionally, you create the inner conditions for peace. In a noisy, fast-moving world, stillness is a quiet revolution. By mastering yourself, you navigate life with wisdom, courage, and calm. Every profound transformation begins with a single intentional habit, and the 5-minute Stoic reflection may be yours to embrace. In these brief moments of pause, you create a space to observe your thoughts, to separate impulse from reason, and to choose calm over chaos. This small daily practice plants seeds of resilience, clarity, and inner freedom that grow steadily over time. By reflecting each morning, journaling, meditating, or sitting quietly, you train your mind to act with intention rather than reaction. This practice cultivates steadiness, shapes decisions, and brings clarity to what truly matters. 5 minutes may seem brief, yet its ripple transforms response into reflection, and reflection into enduring strength. Take a deep breath. Begin today. Reflect, write, breathe. Allow this small habit to anchor your mind, body, and spirit in the enduring wisdom of the Stoics. You've been watching Stoic Dhamma, where ancient philosophy meets modern life. If this message resonates, subscribe to the channel, share your reflections in the comments, and continue the journey toward clarity, calm, and self-mastery.